Your German Shepherd is staring at you right now. Or they were an hour ago. Or they will be tonight, and you'll glance over, feel something you can't quite name, and look away. That stare isn't random. It isn't dominance. It isn't a quirk of the breed. It's directed information, and depending on when it happens, where their body is, and what's going on around them, it means something completely different each time. Most owners land on one explanation and stick with it. Intense breed, protective instinct, just how they are. And that covers it well enough that you never have to look closer. But there are at least 6 distinct versions of that stare, and they don't all mean the same thing. Some of them you're probably reading correctly. At least one of them, the quietest one, the one that happens when nothing is wrong and nothing is being asked, almost every owner gets completely wrong. That one's last, and it matters more than the rest combined. Start with the one you know best. It's 5:30 and you haven't fed them yet. Or you picked up the leash and put it back down. Or you're standing near the door doing something that has nothing to do with going outside, but the routine says this is the time, and your German Shepherd is locked onto you with that full, unblinking focus, like you're the only thing in the room. Most people read that as begging. Some read it as pressure, like the dog is trying to guilt them into moving faster. A few owners feel vaguely manipulated by it. They're not asking, they're calculating. What's actually happening is high-level anticipatory reading. German Shepherds were bred for handler focus, decades of working alongside humans in conditions where reading the person in front of you wasn't optional, it was the job. That stare before a meal or a walk is your dog processing your micro-movements, the shift in your posture, the direction your eyes moved, whether you picked up your keys or your phone. They are running a predictive model on your behavior in real time, and the stare is the outward sign of that processing. It's not passive, it's not emotional manipulation, it's cognition directed at you. When you dismiss it or ignore it, you're not correcting bad behavior, you're declining an attentional exchange with an animal that is exceptionally good at paying attention to you. The irony is that this exact attentiveness, this handler focus, is the foundation of everything that makes a German Shepherd trainable, responsive, and connected. And it starts here, in the mundane moments before dinner. That version is easy to spot because there's always a trigger. Food, walk, routine. The context gives it away. But now, take away the context. No meal coming, no leash, nothing about to happen. Your dog stops in the middle of the room, shifts their gaze to the wall near the window, goes still, and just stares. Not at you, at nothing you can see. Most people's first reaction is to laugh. Ghost dog. Then they either ignore it or try to distract them. What they're not doing is asking the more useful question, which is, what are they actually detecting? Before you laugh at what they're staring at, consider what you can't hear. A German Shepherd's hearing range picks up frequencies well beyond what you register. Their nose processes scent information in a way that has no human equivalent. When your dog locks onto a wall or a door with that still, focused posture, ears slightly forward, weight balanced, body quiet, that is a pre-alert stance. They've detected something. A sound outside that's still too faint for you. A scent coming through a gap somewhere. A vibration in the floor you haven't felt. They are actively scanning before deciding whether to escalate to a bark, a posture shift, something more. The cost of brushing this off isn't always zero. Trainers who work with protection and working dogs consistently note that this pre-alert stillness is the behavior that precedes real alerts. The ones that turn out to be someone at the back fence, or a gas smell, or a sound that resolves into something you should have known about. You don't have to treat every wall stare as an emergency, but you also shouldn't train yourself to reflexively dismiss what your dog is tracking just because you can't track it yourself. That stare is pointed outward, at the environment, at the world beyond your walls. But now watch for the one that comes back to you, specifically to your face, in the middle of something completely unrelated. You're on a walk. Your dog is 10 feet ahead, sniffing along the edge of a fence. Mid-sniff, they stop, look back at you directly, full eye contact, maybe 2 seconds, and then turn right back to the fence like nothing happened. Quick, easy to miss entirely. Most owners who do notice it assume the dog got distracted, or wanted permission to keep going, or just happened to glance back. Behaviorists who study dog-human communication use the term referencing for this. It's not a pause, and it's not a coincidence. It's a deliberate check-in. Your dog is confirming your position, your attention, and your emotional state before continuing whatever they were doing. It's a bonding checkpoint, a low-cost, low-pressure way of maintaining the thread of connection, even when you're not the main focus. It's not a pause, it's a check, and whether you answer matters. When you make brief eye contact back, maybe say their name or give a small nod, you're completing the loop. When you're looking at your phone and miss it entirely, the loop goes unanswered. Dogs whose referencing behaviors consistently get no response tend to reduce them over time. That's not a dramatic consequence, but it is a real one. A gradual fraying of the attentional bond that you won't notice until it's already happened. The check-in stare is over in under a second. Now think about the version that doesn't end. The one where your dog comes and sits directly in front of you, sometimes close enough that you can't not see them, and just holds the stare. No bark, no whining, maybe one slow paw placed on your knee, and you're on your phone or you're watching something, and you either feel a flicker of guilt or you consciously decide to ignore it because you were told not to reward attention-seeking behavior. Here's what's actually happening in that moment. Dogs don't default to sustained direct eye contact easily. For them, it's effortful, even slightly vulnerable. When your German Shepherd sits in front of you and holds that stare, they've already tried something else. A subtle position shift near you, a look from across the room that you didn't catch, maybe a quiet sound that didn't land. The sustained stare with held eye contact is not their first move. It's an escalation. It means the quieter signals were missed, and now they're being as clear as they know how to be without using their voice. By the time they bark, the stare already tried 3 times. When people label this as neediness or manipulation and consistently ignore it, the dog doesn't learn to stop needing things. They learn that low-force communication doesn't work with this person. So they escalate further, barking, pawing, knocking things over, getting in between you and whatever you're doing. Then the owner addresses it because now it's disruptive. What they've actually done is train their dog that the only bids worth making are loud ones. The stare was the polite version. You taught them to skip it. That's a frustration stare. It has a clear target, a clear ask, a visible cause. But there's a version that happens with none of those conditions. No frustration, no need, no ask. And it's the one that shows up in some of your hardest moments. You've had a bad day. Maybe you're on a phone call that's going wrong. Your voice has changed. Your posture has changed. And somewhere in the middle of it, you become aware that your dog has come close and is staring at your face. Not your hands, not the door, not the space behind you. Your face. Head slightly lowered, ears soft, body quiet. And your first instinct is probably to wave them off. Tell them to go lie down, because you're in the middle of something and this isn't the time. That's not your dog being weird. That's your dog deciding whether you need them. German Shepherds, and working breeds generally, show a measurable sensitivity to shifts in human emotional state. Research on dog-human communication suggests dogs can detect physiological stress signals, vocal tone changes, altered movement patterns, shifts in breathing and body language that precede or accompany emotional distress. When your GSD locks onto your face during a hard moment, they are reading you. Trainers who work with service and emotional support animals describe this exact posture, the lowered head, the soft, sustained stare, as the behavioral precursor to comfort-seeking or protective positioning. They're not in your way. They're running an assessment, and you're the subject. What happens when you remove them from the room or dismiss it impatiently isn't just that you miss the moment. You signal repeatedly that when you're struggling, proximity from them isn't wanted. That erodes something that takes a long time to build back. The trust that their presence is welcome in your difficult moments, which is also when their presence tends to matter most. If you're the kind of person who actually pays attention to what your dog is trying to tell you, this channel exists for you. Now, the last one. The one that's easy to miss because it doesn't ask for anything, doesn't signal anything you'd call urgent, and happens most often when the day is winding down and everything is fine. You're on the couch. Your German Shepherd is nearby, not pressed against you, not asking for something, just settled. And you look over, and they're already looking at you. Soft eyes. No tension in the face, no alertness in the ears, no forward weight in the body. Just your dog, looking at you, in the quiet. Your first read is probably nothing. Zoning out, half asleep, waiting for something you haven't decided yet. You look back at whatever you were doing and the moment passes. That was not nothing. Sustained, soft eye contact. The relaxed, low-tension version, not the fixed, focused stare, is one of the most significant signals in the dog-human relationship, and it may be the most routinely missed. For context, direct, prolonged eye contact between unfamiliar dogs is a threat signal. It is not something dogs do casually or without meaning. For your dog to have learned to override that instinct, to sit in relaxed eye contact with you specifically, without a trigger and without an ask, is a behavioral shift that only happens in the context of deep attachment. Some researchers studying dog-human bonding have found that mutual soft gaze between dogs and their owners is associated with elevated oxytocin levels in both parties, the same hormonal response involved in human bonding. Behaviorists sometimes describe this as the closest behavioral equivalent to a hug that a dog has in their repertoire. It's not dramatic. There's no tail wagging, no noise, no obvious display. It's just your dog choosing to look at you in a moment when they don't have to. Your dog doesn't do this with strangers. They barely do this with people they like. They do this with you. And when you glance over and look away, when you reach for your phone, when you don't register it for what it is, your dog offered you the most intimate signal in their communication vocabulary, and it passed unacknowledged. That's not a tragedy, but knowing it changes something. Because once you know what that look is, you can't unsee it. You'll be sitting in exactly that moment again, in a few hours or a few days, and this time you'll know. Hold it for a few seconds. Let it land. Look back without breaking it. That's not a human projecting emotion onto an animal. That's two creatures using the one channel of communication they share, eye contact, to say something that doesn't have words in either language. Every version of the stare covered here is actually the same system expressed in different conditions. Before a meal, it's attention and anticipation. At a wall in the dark, it's perception and protection. Mid-walk, it's connection maintenance. In front of you on the couch, it's a bid for engagement. During your hardest moment, it's attunement. And in the quiet at the end of the day, it's the deepest form of attachment they know how to show. Your German Shepherd doesn't have 100 ways to tell you what they're experiencing. They have their body, their behavior, and their eyes. The stare isn't intensity for its own sake. It's a vocabulary. A compressed, layered, context-dependent vocabulary that you've been surrounded by since the day they came home. Pay attention today. Watch which version shows up, not to analyze it, just to see it accurately. Maybe for the first time.